Hey guys, it's Molly Hudelson, and you're listening to episode 10 of Generation GC, the podcast all about Good Charlotte, where we dive into the band's entire discography, one song at a time. If you've been listening to the show for a bit and paid attention when I've mentioned dates and timing in the episodes, you've probably picked up on the fact that I tend to record pretty far in advance, up to 2 months or so out. Since it's such a niche topic with this show, and a lot of planning goes into what happens when in terms of the order of the episodes, I've found it helpful to plan really far out. So I wanted to let you know that this episode was recorded back in April. If you're wondering why we don't get into anything regarding the current Black Lives Matter protests, police brutality, and victims like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, it's because all of that hadn't happened at the time of recording. Police brutality obviously has been a really big issue in this country for a long time, but the protests and such that are happening had not taken place when Joel Funk and I were recording this episode. If you follow Generation GC on social media, particularly Twitter, which is where I've been the most active, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the stuff that I have been sharing. With protests in all 50 states and several countries around the world, this is the largest civil rights movement in history. That is incredible. We are making a change, but the fight isn't over yet. There are a lot of ways that you can help. If you feel safe protesting, go do that. And I wanted to note also that there are protests happening everywhere, and it's not just in major cities. I know a lot of people feel drawn to the major cities, the big cities, because you think, okay, that's where all the action is. But a lot of small towns are having protests too, and I think it's pretty cool to see stuff happening at a local level. You know, it may be a smaller protest, but that would mean, if anything, that your voice means all that much more if you do go. And if you do go to a protest, please make sure that you wear a mask, that you social distance as possible, since coronavirus is still a thing that we are dealing with. You know, wash your hands, bring hand sanitizer, make sure that you shower afterwards, wash your clothes. And I also wanted to remind you that if you take photos of protesters for any reason, it's recommended that you block out people's faces. If you can afford to donate to local bail funds or to organizations like NAACP or the ACLU, that's also a great idea. They could really use your help, and even if it's a small donation, it makes a difference. A lot of bands are, doing merch that raises money. I've seen a lot of photographers selling prints that they're going to donate profits for. So take a look at what your favorite creators are doing. See how you can help. Another thing that you could do is run jail support if that's something that you feel called to do. I'll post a link below with more information and some guides. If you feel comfortable posting stuff and sharing on social media, that's an amazing way to increase visibility and awareness and to help spread education. But remember that even if you're not sharing on social media, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that doesn't mean that you can't still take action. There's a lot of petitions going around, and that's a great way to show your support for a cause, even if you can't share time or money. There's also been several videos on YouTube. People will make these hour-long videos, run a whole bunch of ads, and then donate all of the funds from those ads to Black Lives Matter or other relevant organizations. I think that is a super cool idea. I also recommend looking up 8can'twait.org, which aims to reduce police violence by enacting 8 policies in cities across the U.S. It was really informative for me to look at that and to see what change might actually look like, right? Because we all know that police brutality and police violence is an issue, but how do we change? What do we need to do? What policy do we need to put into place in order to make that not be a thing that happens ever again? And a few personal, more lighthearted recommendations that I did want to share. I really encourage everyone, check out books, check out music, check out art, check out TV shows, etc. by Black creators. One book that I really loved, loved recently is called Who Put This Song On? And it's by Morgan Parker. It's a somewhat fictionalized account of her high school experience. From what I understand, she basically wrote it from her own diaries. It's, oh my god, it's incredible. It deals with race, and it deals with her experience growing up Black in a school in an area that was not dominated by Black people, that had a lot of white people. It deals with her mental health and depression. She talks about that in a way that I found so real, and that I also found very true to the way that like my 14 or 15-year-old self experienced things. You know, the way that you might describe your mental health or mental illness as an adult is not the same that you would describe it if you are a teenager. So I think it's really fun, and a lot of the stories in that book center around music. She loves music. She loves a lot of emo music. Good Charlotte does get a little mention in the book. It's very small, but it was super funny. I loved it. I Snapchatted all my friends when I got to that part. A lot of companies have made statements showing their support for this movement, which is really cool. But one that I wanted to shout out is Ben & Jerry's. They did not hold back. Their statement said, among other things, that we must dismantle white supremacy and silence is not an option. So if it is hot where you are, it's been super hot and humid where I am in New Jersey, and I hate it. I like the heat. I like summer. I don't like humidity. If it is hot, or if you just need some ice cream, go buy Ben & Jerry's. I mean, they make a whole lot of delicious ice cream flavors anyway. They have a lot of dairy and non-dairy flavors. So me being vegan, I love that. And yeah, now you know that this company really stands on the right side of history. Something I'm hoping to do personally is to diversify my guests on Generation GC. I've gotten a few recommendations from friends for non-white artists who, you know, fit in this kind of alternative emo, punk, pop punk, etc. scene that might be the type of artists that like Good Charlotte and that might want to come on the show and talk about their favorite GC song and whatever comes along with that. If you have any suggestions, please send them to me. I'm always looking for suggestions of people that might want to come on the show or that you would want to hear on the show. But this is an extra special shout out that I really want diversity to be a thing that happens here. And I don't want it to be about, you know, here's your token person of a different background. I don't want it to be that. I don't think that helps anything. But I do want to make sure that it's representative. You know, I know that the scene is not 100% white. The scene is not 100% straight. And I know that Good Charlotte fans are very diverse too. So please always hit me with your recommendations. That's about all for the intro. I know this has been a pretty long intro, but I had a lot to say, so I wanted to share. Anyway, now on to our episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Generation GC podcast. My name is Molly Hudelson. I'm your host, and today I am here with a dear friend of mine, Joel Funk. Joel is a music journalist. We have been internet friends for many, many years. We got to hang out and road trip to a show together last summer, which was a lot of fun. Joel currently writes for Substream magazine and The Alternative, two wonderful publications, and we're going to be talking about My Bloody Valentine from The Young and the Hopeless. Last week's episode talked about Screamer, and next week we are going to be talking about a song from The Chronicles of Life and Death. Joel, hello.
Hi, Molly.
Joel, I am so excited. So I'm going to introduce our song briefly and then dive into a lot we're going to discuss.
Okay, sounds fun.
Yeah, so My Bloody Valentine is track 7 on Good Charlotte's 2002 sophomore album, The Young and the Hopeless. Was not a single, no music video or anything, but they played it live a ton, so I don't feel like it really qualifies as a deep cut, right?
Right.
It's a pretty popular song. There's a lot to talk about with this song. Oh my God. And at the end, we're going to make a judgment on whether this song is genuinely scary and creepy, or is it romantic? So, Joel, when I reached out to you about this podcast, you mentioned My Bloody Valentine as a song that you were excited to talk about. Why did you want to talk about this song in particular?
Well, My Bloody Valentine it goes back and forth between this and The River being my favorite songs from Good Charlotte.
Okay.
I think both of those songs showcase like the best kind of storytelling songwriting they do, where it's not so much just like the anthem was what it was, right? It's an anthemic song,
yeah.
Big hook. But My Bloody Valentine, it just paints such a vivid story, and I like getting lost in that.
Sure. So had you heard Good Charlotte's music? Like, what was your first exposure to their music? Was it like with this song, or had you heard other stuff before?
I heard the anthem first. I have two pretty distinct memories with Good Charlotte. The first being the video for the anthem was playing. It was like an MTV spanking new video.
Yep.
And I remember watching that and then immediately changing the channel to Nickelodeon to watch the first episode of Drake and Josh.
Big mood.
Like back to back. Those two will always be joined at the hip for me.
Yeah.
And then after that, a little bit of time had passed. I was in third grade when The Young and the Hopeless came out.
Okay.
So I was like just starting to like ask for CDs of my own and like trying to. So, interestingly enough, the CD that I had been asking for was actually Sum 41's All Killer No Filler, which came out, I believe, the same year.
Yeah, I think around the same time anyway.
Yeah, and I got that, and then a girl that I don't know if I had like a crush on, but I was definitely like pretty into, had said that her favorite band was Good Charlotte, and we rode the bus together. So
there you go.
And I did a whole bunch of trading. I got that album, the Sum 41 album, and then asked around if anybody had a copy of The Young and the Hopeless that they would trade for.
Right, because you're third grade. You can't just drive to the mall and buy a CD yourself.
I couldn't just roll in and buy a copy of it, so I had to get creative. So I ended up trading a kid named McConnell, got the album, and I've been in love with them ever since.
So wait, did anything ever come of this crush?
No, I mean we talked about Good Charlotte a lot, but other than the school bus memories I have, nothing ever really came from it. I mean, I guess I have that memory, and I've talked about it before, but it's weird how vivid that is for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say, not to stray too far away, but when I was in third grade, I was listening to like Sugar Ray and Ricky Martin and the A-Teens.
Okay.
To be fair, Good Charlotte had not put out their self-titled when I was in third grade, but so My Bloody Valentine. So this song tells the story of a guy who kills a girl's boyfriend, ostensibly because he's in love with this girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Supposedly inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Telltale Heart. What is your interpretation of the lyrics? Is there anything you would want to add or anything you see differently?
I mean, I think it was just kind of conveniently like tacked on to Telltale Heart just because they mention it in the song.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the song I'm just trying to it is what it is. I just feel like it was, heat of the moment, over dramatic kind of thing, and that's typically what makes the best pop punk, is just being as over the top and melodramatic
So do you think that over dramatic, and not to say that we have to separate these two emotions, but is it jealousy or is it like an anger?
Ooh, okay. I mean, the two really, I think, go hand in hand. One's gonna spark the other, right? So jealousy might not start out as anger, often start out as like insecurity, but eventually it's gonna build.
It'll like lead to.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna continue to snowball until you get to the point where you decide you're gonna rip out that girl's boyfriend's throat and call her on the telephone. So
which jealousy can be a monster.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jealousy can definitely lead people to do things they might not otherwise do. we'll talk more about the song, but I wanted to mention some kind of different theories, I guess, on possible origins of the title. So there's obviously the band My Bloody Valentine. There was a slasher film released in 1981 called My Bloody Valentine. There is also a standard My Funny Valentine. So I don't know. What do you think is kind of the most likely explanation?
My money's on the slasher film.
Yeah.
I feel like that was so in their wheelhouse at the time, and it's like I feel like slasher films kind of go hand in hand. You think Good Charlotte, AFI, like bands that were really inspired by these slasher films.
Yeah.
I think the band My Bloody Valentine would be like a really cool snobby origin story if the Madden brothers ever wanted to pretend it was anything but a horror movie.
Right. Yeah, I haven't, because I was reading up on, the song and everything, and I didn't find anything that was like definitive, but I agree with you. I feel like the slasher film to me is like my most likely inclination of what it is.
Yeah.
But I didn't find anything that was like definitive.
Yeah,
I wanted to note something from a review of the album on Pop Matters that pointed to this song and told them to work on those song titles, lads. And I would like to defend this song title. I think My Bloody Valentine is a great song title. Am I getting heated right now? Yes. It's
a damn good title.
Yeah, it's dramatic, but it's emotional, It's not my gory Valentine. It's my bloody Valentine and blood and the heart and love. It's also emotional. I think it's kind of fantastic. So
yeah, it works if you look at the song to play out like a movie. It does. Yeah. It reads very cinematic. So My Bloody Valentine, it clearly worked as a movie title on its own. So
yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. I wonder what this guy thinks of like Panic at the Disco song titles from their first few albums.
Oh God. Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. Well, let's talk about I know we're kind of jumping around from what my outline was, but this song is very cinematic. Why did this song never get a music video?
I think I think that their label knew their demo was predominantly younger.
Right.
And if you had to choose between songs like Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous or My Bloody Valentine to try to sell to children, you're probably gonna pick the Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous. But I think this would have been a music video single if it had been saved for like the Chronicles of Life and Death.
Right. I feel like by that point, both with where they were with their albums as well as like where fans were, people might have gotten it. And not to say it would have to be like a slasher film playing out on screen per se, but
I think a lot of bands in between like 80s and 90s rock and like the 2000s pop, like mall pop punk, I think a lot of them were just afraid to break away from like a clean cookie cutter image. And then
definitely.
I don't think the gory, not gory, I guess, but like the really dark and like thought-provoking music videos, really, I feel like that started with bands like My Chem when it came to MTV at least.
And that was and My Chem was even a couple of years after. Well,
no, it was like a year later, I think.
A year or two later. Yeah, that's true. If we're talking about like I'm Not Okay and Helena and everything.
Right.
But in my searching of this song, I did find a fan-made music video from it was
incredible.
Yeah, so this music video, and I'll include a link to this video in the description. And now I feel like I have to get this guy on the show for like a follow-up.
Incredible.
Yeah, so in 2011, Eric Harris uploaded this fan-made video to the show. He made it for an intro to broadcasting class. It looks like a community college. And it essentially plays out the narrative of the song. A crazy jealous guy kills this girl's boyfriend, shows up at her house. His shirt is covered in blood. The cops come up. You see the cops come in. And at the end of the video, he washes his bloody hands.
for what it is for a community college project, it's
Yeah.
like it's incredible. I mean, it was cool that he was able to pull it all off.
Yeah.
I do like that it was like it looks very 2011 as well. Like the video quality is not terrible, but it's.
I wonder if it was made in 2011 or if it was made closer to when the album came out. Because if you think about if it had been made around when the album came out, it was made before YouTube was a thing.
That's true.
You know, YouTube I think was like 2005 or 2006. So I guess, and I also just realized like it clicked when I was just rewatching this video before we hopped on this call that, you know, normally YouTube flags any kind of video that used the song, and this clearly was not flagged. So I guess they got the rights somehow. It was also uploaded in October 2011, like, which is about a month, 2 months after Good Charlotte went on hiatus.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe there was something because they were sort of in between labels or whatever that there was a loophole. Maybe the guy actually got the rights. I mean, I don't know.
I wonder if there might be a grace period for older videos. When you think of like all the Comic Sans and like YouTube lyric videos that were just somebody typing on Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those still have their audio as well.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I mean, I'd prefer the theory that while Good Charlotte was on hiatus, they just didn't care.
I wonder that too, right? That maybe this guy was like, oh shit, they're on hiatus. Oh, I can finally upload this video to the internet. So I don't know, but now I like really want to find this guy and reach out to him.
Oh yeah, get him on for sure if you can.
Yeah, why not? So I want to talk about back to the song itself. So there's a lot of stuff going around. If you like Google like song facts about Good Charlotte, My Bloody Valentine, people will mention Edgar Allan Poe and the story, The Telltale Heart. Yeah. The second verse of the song ends, no telltale heart was left to find when you mourn the death of your bloody Valentine. There is a quote from an interview that I'll mention, but first of all, my question for you is, have you read that story?
Yeah, years ago. It was I read it in my short stories class my freshman year of college.
I think I read it like I was probably in high school, and I went to a Barnes and Noble and found like an Edgar Allan Poe anthology and read it because like I knew that this Good Charlotte song was sort of about it. So what I'll read this quote. So in 2003, there was an interview with Sorted Magazine, which is an Irish website, right around the album release when they first played in Ireland. And in this interview, Joel says, I wrote about something and I took it, twisted it, and incorporated like a fantasy. But it was all out of my head, kind of like a jealous moment. Then I kind of took it, twisted it, and made it a little darker. Then they added music to it. It's totally Edgar Allan Poe. So from there, I mean, is your feeling that it was intentionally meant to be inspired by The Telltale Heart, or was it more, you know, they just kind of want to get an Edgar Allan Poe like vibe?
I think the song probably started before the Telltale Heart imagery was there. I think once they started and had a general direction on where it was going, it was easier to build off of. And they probably figured, we could probably work a Telltale Heart into this.
Right.
Based on what we have already. My
kind of feeling, because I mean, obviously I knew the song and knew all the words to the song before I found, you know, that reference or, Edgar Allan Poe, Telltale Heart.
Right.
And when you go on like, you know, a GeoCities or Angel Fire, you know, fan website in 2003, people list, you know, Good Charlotte facts and they just say, oh, My Bloody Valentine was inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, Telltale Heart. You know, they don't necessarily source everything or explain it or say what's verified. I think I remember like when I finally read The Telltale Heart, I was like, like they
Yeah, Telltale Heart's
it.
pretty like it's like this is so the song. It's this song is great. It's dark. It's entertaining. A Telltale Heart is just like dark.
Yeah, I feel like it's my current interpretation and view is that they read maybe they didn't read The Telltale Heart because so supposedly they had not actually read this book Good Charlotte before naming the band that. Yeah, and they just thought it was a cool name.
Yeah.
Anyway, so maybe they didn't read it. Maybe they just wrote this song and thought, oh, this feels kind of Edgar Allan Poe. Hey, what's like an Edgar Allan Poe reference we could throw in here?
Yeah, I wonder if it was reactionary. Like Blink-182, they wrote the song "Going Away to College" like 15 minutes after watching the movie Can't Hardly Wait.
Wow.
And it was pretty much inspired by the general feeling of that movie. So I wonder if maybe they had just read A Telltale Heart, and this is kind of a reactionary, I bet I could do it better kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like, because my memory of Telltale Heart is obviously a little fuzzy, but it's definitely not like a literal song interpretation.
Oh, no, not at all.
Story. But yeah, I don't know. I would be curious to know, like, did they read it? Like, where did they pull that inspiration? I want to know all the details.
Yeah, honestly, same. I feel like the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking it was probably reactionary. They probably read it for the first time while they were writing for this album. And
I wonder if, I want to know if Billy had anything to do with that, just because he was always sort of the goth one.
Oh, like the true goth. Like,
yeah.
He was like the one holding it down for him, just in case.
Right. Like the rest of them were these like pop punk kids that were also kind of edgy and dark and had some goth moments, but
Billy's like there to prove Good Charlotte's not all industry plants.
Yes. Hey, they are not industry plants. No, he's the goth kid, or the goth adult. Oh my god. So, do you remember the website, Joel? Songmeanings.com.
I wish I had more of a relationship with it.
So,
I imagine it's kind of like what Genius is right now.
Yes. So, songmeanings.com still exists.
Oh, fun.
But and stuff is still added to it, but I don't think it's as popular now, because you have something like Genius. Genius is a website where lyrics are uploaded and artists can add like official interpretations.
Yep.
Songmeanings.com was just fan comments.
Oh,
so sometimes it was people talking about what they thought the song meant.
Okay.
But sometimes it was, did they like the song? Or
okay. So it was either the actual like interpretation or just a review.
Yeah. And it's like the internet in the early 2000s, so
Yeah.
So I read some of the comments for this song. A lot of people said the song is scary. Like most of the comments from 2002, 2003, shortly after the album came out, were how scary the song was. That was a word that came up a lot.
Okay.
There was one that I really liked that said, "This song is hot!" 4 exclamation points. Murder can be so hot! Exclamation point. Quote the song and says, "That's sexy," and he sounds sexy singing it too.
I mean, she's not wrong.
Right.
This is also, I think, my favorite Joel like vocal delivery on this album.
You think?
Yeah, I think there's something about it where it's like it's in between like the kind of whiny nature that like the whiny tone he has on like the anthem or Lifestyles, and like the super somber sounds of like
Hold On or something.
Hold On or Waiting. Like, I don't know. I think he just sounds somewhere in the middle of like, yeah, I care, but not too much. Here's some blood and gore.
Yeah. So here's
also, murder can be hot.
Well, okay, but to be fair, I feel like this was, at least a decade before people started getting really into like the serial killer podcasts and such. But now that's like a big thing.
Well, she probably, you know what it is? I think it's the passion and the charisma.
Yes, because this guy is in love with this girl.
Oh, totally. You know what the song reminds me of?
What?
Is You, the Netflix show. Like, this is Joe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I haven't watched the second season.
Oh, okay.
But I watched the first season, and I've heard that the second season is like more messed up.
Oh, for sure. So the first season, it had a nice build to, oh my God, this guy's actually a complete psycho.
Right.
The second season is just like, oh yeah, he's a psycho.
Oh my God.
We're going to show you that he's a psycho.
Wow. Okay. So I don't want you to spoil it for me or for anyone listening because I haven't watched it yet.
But yeah, it makes me think of Joe Goldberg.
Yeah. But I feel like this was also before, stalking was, or terrible male behavior before all of that was, really talked about in our society. And
for sure.
There's something else I wanted to bring up. So this was a piece on The Brag that talked about pop punk and a lot of internalized misogyny surrounding Jessie Lacey and Brand New. So it was released a couple of years ago, like around all the time that all of that happened.
Right.
So this piece, the author quoted, "When Good Charlotte sang about murdering a girl's boyfriend to be with her on My Bloody Valentine, I thought it was hopelessly romantic." Later on in the piece, and she mentions, Taking Back Sunday and Brand New and that feud and a whole lot of bands that came out around that time. And there's another quote in the piece that says, "The girls in these songs were either put on pedestals or thrown under the bus. They were never rendered as whole or autonomous, just fantasies or bitches who dared to make their own needs and thoughts known." So do you think that this song is misogynistic?
Oh, no. The misogyny song on this album is Girls and Boys.
Yeah. I don't know. I could sort of see where that's coming from, just in the sense of, and I agree that Girls and Boys is definitely the more like misogynistic song, and even something like Riot Girl, I feel like if they were to write Riot Girl in 2020, they would have written a much different song.
Yeah, I think that's got more to do with education and like.
Yeah, totally. But
because.
No, I think our conversation about, femininity and misogyny and stuff has changed a lot. What I guess could possibly be considered to me misogynistic about this song, and I'm not necessarily saying I agree, is the idea that, he goes and kills this girl's boyfriend without even asking her if she wants to be with him instead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say without even asking if she wants him to murder him.
But it's like, God. It's like, the character of this song goes and murders the girl's boyfriend with the idea that, oh, he will die and then she and I will be together. Without even asking if she wants to be with him, just like assuming. Right. And maybe even like I feel like misogynistic might not even be the right exact word, but
yeah, see, I have this weird I have my own story written for what was going on in this song.
Okay.
So, I guess hearing the explanation of the possible misogyny makes sense, but for some reason, from the time I started looking at songs and trying to creatively analyze them or create something around them, this one to me has always been the boyfriend was verbally abusive. And so it was. I still think there's a little bit of misogyny in there because they're kind of trying to play a hero complex and being
right, and it's you still don't know if the girl even wanted to be with you in the first place.
For sure. But I guess that skews my interpretation of the song, as I
Mhm.
always picture it as like this romantic
Like
act.
he was a boy that, you know,
Yeah. Sorry, my
should
first instinct was to say she was a girl, and I was.
right.
But,
No, that's an interesting, and that was honestly not something that occurred to me. I will say that like when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, I thought this song was pretty romantic.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I was
You're willing
like,
to
oh
kill
my
someone?
god, a guy that's, you know, willing to go to such lengths. Oh, that's
Yeah, I blame
incredible.
Underworld.
Yeah, but I obviously, you know, I'm 28 now, so obviously I have many more years of life behind me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Do you think that this song is like a complete dramatization and made up story about a real feeling? Or is it just a completely fictional story, nothing pulled from personal experience?
Oh, I don't think there's any such thing as a complete fictional story where nothing's pulled from personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
The human mind, the human like imagination is great, but I mean, you have to pull from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So every fantasy is just a really dressed up version of someone getting up and going to work.
Ooh.
Um,
No, good point. I think when I was again 11 years old and heard this album for the first time, I was like, "Oh, they totally made this up." Because
yeah,
I didn't necessarily like have the ability to like process emotions and realize that
right,
a
and
a fictional plot could be about real emotions and
right.
you know, obviously don't condone violence like this, but you know, yeah, jealousy can be really powerful. Do you know who Conan Gray is?
Only through you.
Oh my god, I love Conan Gray. So
Yeah.
have you listened to his song Heather?
No, I have not.
So Heather, Conan Gray is a pop singer. He just put out his first album, Kid Crow. I absolutely love it. So there's a song on this album called Heather, and it's basically Heather is Conan is in love with a person. This person is in love with Heather, doesn't like Conan back.
Oh,
And so Conan is just singing about how he like hates Heather and like wants her to die. And
right.
then he, you know, has said in interviews that like, no, Heather is a nice person, but like, yeah, I effing hated her.
Yeah, romantic jealousy, it brings out something carnal in people.
Yeah.
It's like a natural instinct to get like almost territorial, which is so weird and like borderline gross to say out loud.
Oh, yeah.
But like it's just such a primal instinct. And the second, romantic jealousy is so much different than like I'm jealous that you have this thing that I want. Like there's something about it where your brain has decided this is ours. This is what we and it's just a weird like a switch.
Yeah, you know, without diving too deep into personal experiences here, yeah, it's hard, and it's like you can kind of in your mind, I will say like from my experience, you can kind of in your mind go, okay, you know, I have no pull on them. They do not owe me anything. This other person, I can maybe even say on paper that this other person is a better fit for them than me, but
but I still hate them.
Yeah, I hate them. We might have been friends before, but I hate them now because they have what I want.
Yep, absolutely. I wonder, is Conan Gray, are they queer?
So Conan has not publicly, you know, came out per se.
Okay.
He and Conan uses he, him pronouns.
Okay.
Has not came out or labeled himself, has said he prefers not to label himself.
Okay.
So it's not officially clear, but
okay, it's just because like I identify with that so much, where it's like growing up a little gay boy, you're like you develop crushes on, I mean, who's around, so it's predominantly straight boys, and then they have a crush on some girl that you might be friends with, or you're just like, And there's something about it, like, I guess that romantic jealousy, like, you feel it so quick, so fast. It's just like, I get it, Conan, and I get it, Joel.
Yeah. Yeah. My high school crush was never officially out, but pretty, was eventually pretty sure he was gay, but was never out. And the one boy that I remember him, that everyone kind of thought he was with, I just remember being like, oh, I hate him.
Yeah.
No, he was like super nice.
Yeah.
He was super nice. And of course this guy didn't want me.
Right. But he has what you want, so he's bad.
Right. He's bad. And it's like, you know what? I'm 28 and like that shit, it's still hard. So.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
What I'm saying is, I think with this song, I definitely went through a period of like, oh, this song is just like over dramatic. It's bad. It's violent. And I I just want to say now that like I get it a lot more, that
for sure.
that you can have those feelings of jealousy that really are like that.
They blind you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrible. You want to take down this other person, and in the case of My Bloody Valentine, quite literally you want to take them down.
Yeah, for sure. Rip out their throat. Yeah.
So do you have any memories or stories that you want to share about this song specifically, Joel?
I don't have any specific memories tied to it. I mean, it was a good song for all my unrequited little gay crushes in middle school and high school. But yeah, no memories attached to it. I did want to talk about also a thing I thought for a very long time hearing this song is when he says, I ripped out his throat and called you on the telephone. Mm-hmm. My brain went to he like took the throat and like put it over his own to try to sound like the boyfriend when he called.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Right. Okay.
And then the take off my disguise part was, he came over and then revealed that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had like literally this entire movie in my head when I hear this song. Like I can see the characters, I can see the setting.
I mean, I read a lot of fan fiction about this song. Oh, I'm sure there's plenty. Yeah, I definitely didn't write any fan fiction about this song. Yeah, definitely not. I don't think I ever heard that, though, the thing about ripping out his throat. But I like that a lot because, yeah, and that makes sense, too, with what we've been talking about with jealousy is like, the person that you likes or is with someone else. For a reason. Right. And you're like, oh, well, maybe if I'm just more like them, they'll want me instead. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never picked that up with this song. Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just a weird, like I had this whole cinematic moment up in there. If I ever decide to bring it to life. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would watch it. Yeah. Would it be like a short film or like a full length? Oh, I think that's hard. I think a short film that leaves room to be adapted. Okay. Right. Like it could be like a pilot kind of thing. Yeah, you want to make sure you've got enough attention that is worth investing more of the story. So okay. I'd want you to feel fulfilled watching the short film, but feeling like you wanted more. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Would it be like a very, I mean, it seems like it'd be something that'd be like very graphic. Oh yeah, for sure. It would, I don't think there's a way with this song to not, like my interpretation of it anyway, for it to not be graphic. Yeah. But I mean, people like that. They flock to horror movies when they come out, right? Like, yeah, that's horror true. Movies regularly, and they keep making them because they sell. I mean, and that show You is hugely popular. Like, oh yeah. So, ooh, yeah. Okay. So it would be, yeah. Okay, I would watch this. Yeah. Thank you. Well. Welcome. So. Something I wanted to bring up was the track listing on this album. Oh, it's sandwiched, man. Yeah. So this is track 7 on the album. Track 5 was The Story of My Old Man. Track 6, Girls and Boys. Track 7, My Bloody Valentine. Track 8, Hold On. And then track 9 is Riot Girl. Yeah. So
I mean, that track listing really it creates a very interesting narrative, right? If you were to just look at those songs, you've got the story of my old man, right?
Yeah.
He's recalling all the reasons that he is the way that he is. My dad's a drunk, he walked out on me. You've got Girls and Boys, where he's just full on. Girls don't like boys; they like what they can give them, right? Because he's jealous of this other boy.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm seeing that now. Okay.
And then you've got My Bloody Valentine, where he's like, he's done, he's drunk, he's mad, he knows that he'll never have her, but this guy shouldn't have her either, so he kills him.
Okay.
You've got Hold On, which is, he had that momentary break of sanity, and then Hold On is just trying to like
hold on to it.
Yeah, literally just hold on to some sense of normalcy. And then you've got Riot Girl, where he's now totally obsessed with someone new.
See, that I actually like that explanation a lot for Girls and Boys into My Bloody Valentine, because I was spinning the album today and I was kind of like, what? And I don't know if it was necessarily intended to be like a narrative like that.
Oh no, I've totally strung that together.
Yeah. But maybe there's fan fiction about that. Maybe there's like a fan fiction that goes through the album song by song like that.
There is. It's called You Season 2.
Now I feel like I should see if I watch You Season 2, because I watched the first season because everyone was talking about it, but I didn't find it to be like very engaging.
Did you ever watch Dexter?
No.
Okay, so I had the same issue the first time I watched Dexter, and then I was like, the way I'm trying to look at TV now is that no TV show's good until at least 4 episodes in, right?
I mean, I watched the whole first season of You.
Yeah, but I don't think you're supposed to be engaged by Joe. You're supposed to be like, this guy's sinister. You're not supposed to feel.
No, but I mean, like, I just wasn't engaged in like what was happening. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna finish this because I started it, but it didn't like grab my attention.
Yeah, the first season was a slow build into psychosis. The second season, I feel like it's a lot more edge of your seat. So like you'll want to keep going.
Should I rewatch the first season or am I okay?
Not. Absolutely not.
Okay, just go in a second. Okay.
Yeah. No, there's very little crossover. So.
Okay. Yeah. My current TV thing has been rewatching Degrassi.
Where are you watching it?
It's on YouTube, dude.
Oh, okay, sick.
Yeah, and I have YouTube on my TV, so you can look up PSA to anyone listening. You can look up on YouTube Degrassi, season 1, episode 1. Press play, and it'll play and just go right through, and it'll autoplay everything. And then, amazing. Of course, that's Degrassi: The Next Generation, and then of course the Next Class series is on Netflix.
Okay.
So it's very easily accessible online.
Nice.
But I'm doing that, and I guess the Catfish season ended, but there is a new episode of Married at First Sight tonight.
Okay.
I just want to say.
I just powered through Tiger King.
See, I don't think I'm going to watch that.
Oh, I fully was going to tell you not to watch it.
Yeah, because everyone is just like, it's just going to piss me off seeing animal abuse.
It's super graphic. But it's one of those things where, like, once you start watching, it's hard to look away from because you're just trying to figure out how is any of what's going on legal. Like,
right.
It's insane, and it's like watching a car crash. Like, you want to look away, you shouldn't be looking, but
right, but it's just gonna like upset you.
Right. And then I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine because
I've been told I would like that a lot.
I like Mike Schur, the writer of that show, a lot. He did The Good Place and Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And he worked
I like
a little
Parks
bit on
and
The
Rec.
Office. But there's something, I don't know why I was turned off to it. I guess maybe because it was a Fox show for a while. But I don't know. I've been watching that because I need laughs.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't be talking to people, I need to be like mindlessly entertained almost.
Yeah, that's been Degrassi for me. It's comfort. Yeah, it's comfort TV, and conveniently, 2 or 3 friends of mine are also binging Degrassi.
Oh,
so
perfect.
have
Why
like
is that
actually
not your other podcast.
Right. That's, oh my God, as I've been thinking about that, I'm like, every episode I watch now.
Wait, Molly, can you please call it quarantine drama? Like, have the quarantine be TEEN?
Oh, man, I don't know. I want to get this show, off the ground, and
okay. We'll come back to quarantine drama.
Yeah, after
quarantine's ending anytime soon.
Oh God. After I, left the outlets that I was writing for last year, I mean, even after I had ended Circles and Sound Waves 2 years ago, I was like, I am never like starting my own thing again.
Oh, I know.
But so far, this has felt really good to me because it's like, this is something I can do on my own terms, and I don't have to be following the rules of making sure I get a press release up in time or
right.
coverage, whatever. It has a little more freedom in that way, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm happy to hear that.
Thank
Everybody
you.
needs a good creative outlet, and I think this is obviously you're very passionate about Good Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I think when you're able to find something where you're super passionate about it, and it's fun to just talk about your favorite songs anyway.
Exactly. So back to My Bloody Valentine. So how has this song held up for you over time?
Oh, so this was not always one of my favorite Good Charlotte songs.
Really?
It was. Well, when I had the album and then through middle school and high school, like, this was such a good skip song because it was between two great songs.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you didn't feel like you were necessarily missing anything going from Girls and Boys into Hold On, because it was like, oh, duh, these are two huge songs.
Right.
I think when I saw Good Charlotte on that the small venue tour they did with Less Than Jake, and I want to say maybe Crown the Empire.
Yeah.
So when I knew I was definitely going to that, I started to re-listen to the entire discography.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really, I think, appreciated how great The Young and the Hopeless is.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think it's maybe the best Good Charlotte record.
Yeah.
But this song in particular really stood out to me because of just how I don't know, how romantic and dark, and how, like, I like the big gesture.
Yeah, well, big gesture. Yeah, you know what? I can't disagree that it's a big gesture.
Yeah, I'm talking with my hands here. You can't see it, but I like the big gesture.
Big gesture. So, I mean, I feel like, I kind of talked about it earlier, but I think I went sort of back and forth on this song. But as I've been, re-listening to it for the show and everything, I feel like it's held up pretty well. And like I said, especially as I've kind of, understood feelings of jealousy, I think, a little more. I get those feelings a little more, and definitely appreciate the storytelling more.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, okay, judgment time. What is our final feeling on this song? And we don't necessarily have to agree. So what is your final feeling on this song?
It's one big grand romantic gesture. This is just showing that he is so passionate about the way he feels for you that he's willing to go to the ends of the earth, almost literally.
I would say it is. It's very misguided romantic.
Okay. Yeah.
Because sure. I more so do see the piece of, like, he never even asked the girl if she wants to be with him.
Oh, truly. But I mean, how many love songs are written with permission?
True. Also a good point. So, Joel, what has Good Charlotte meant to you over the years, and how has that changed, or has it changed in any way?
So, Good Charlotte, they're kind of like a comfort food thing for me. I know I can put it on, and I can sort of mindlessly still sing along without even knowing that I'm doing it. They're up there with, like, Blink-182 for me, and like Bowling for Soup.
Yeah,
so it's like bands I've loved for so long that they're almost a part of my personality at this point.
Yeah.
I did go through a phase, like I feel like everybody does, where they're like, "Oh, I'm too cool for that. It's so lame."
Oh, yeah.
So, like, there was a point in time where I was like, "Oh, Blink-182 is just crappy," and now I'm like, I will fight in the name of Blink-182.
Yeah, you even appreciate Blink-182's most recent material, which I have not been entirely won over by.
Yeah, I think a review I read of Blink's last album said it felt more like a plus 44 album, and I was like, good, that's what I wanted anyway.
I will even say now that like my opinions on Blink's latest material are definitely colored by my view that Blink should have ended when Tom left again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
yeah, again, back to this. I think, I went through that phase where I was like, oh, I'm way too cool for that. I only listen to like Pitchfork indie rock. I like The Hotelier in the World Is exclusively, and nobody could touch them.
Which are also great bands.
They're great bands, sure, absolutely. But there's something about hearing a man in his 20s in the rain being like, I will kill for you.
Yeah. Which like, yes, this I like that the song literally has these like rain sounds kind of at the beginning and end. Because of course it has to happen in the pouring rain. Thunderstorms.
Right. And it really adds to the narrative that I've created where this is the middle scene in the movie where he's lost his mind and he's still drunk and recovering from talking shit about this guy at the bar.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch that movie. I don't do horror or gore, really, right? But I would watch that movie. So Joel, any last words about My Bloody Valentine, about Good Charlotte, or about yourself?
Well, nothing really personal is going on, but I think My Bloody Valentine, this might be the best Good Charlotte song from the best Good Charlotte record, and I don't think I hear enough praise sang for this song.
Yeah, I
this really allowed bands like My Chemical Romance, who I'm not saying they were directly inspired at all by Good Charlotte,
right,
peers,
right,
more or less. But I think a band as commercially successful as Good Charlotte was, throwing in sprinkles of this kind of like dark, violent storytelling and doing it well allowed record labels to want to invest in bands like My Chem, who are almost exclusively this.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I would love to talk to eventually get some people who worked at, record labels or managers, publicists, agents that have worked, either with Good Charlotte or in similar scenes over the years to share their view on things.
Would be awesome.
Joel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we got to do this. So, where can we find you on the internet?
I'm on Twitter at JoelFunkII, which is like the Roman numeral 2. And you can find my writing at substreammagazine.com and at getalternative.com.
Amazing. Joel, thank you so much. And listeners, please read Joel's writing. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
He did a while back this absolutely amazing essay about the Dixie Chicks being punk rock, and you should seek that out and read it.
Oh yeah, and the Dixie Chicks are the most punk rock.
Oh yeah, among many other pieces, but that was one that sticks out for me. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Joel, for being on the show. You can follow Generation GC at Generation GC Pod, POD, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow me, Molly, at mhudelson, at MHUDELSON on Twitter or Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. We will be with you next week talking about a song from the Chronicles of Life and Death.